I have no motivation today. Let's dance. Whew, I feel a lot more motivated after that dance. I tell you, it is windy here today and it is making my head feel terrible. But that is not going to stop me from doing what I do every week, and that is cooking from the Mayberry Cookbook. Today, I'm going to do two recipes. We're going to start off with Ernest T. Bass's Chicken Thief Stew. And then, after we get that going, I'm going to do Crooner's Shrimp Creole. Here's the recipe for Ernest T. Bass's Chicken Thief Stew. It has a little quote here that says, Ernest T. doesn't chew his cabbage twice, but he always comes back for more of this. All right, let's read what's in this recipe. All-purpose flour, 1 4-pound chicken cut into pieces, a half a cup of oil, a half a cup chopped onion, 3 cups canned tomatoes, 1 cup of water, 1.5 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 3 cups of whole kernel corn, and 3 cups of lima beans. I'm only going to do about half of this recipe today. And it calls for kernel corn. I'm going to substitute and do some frozen mixed vegetables just because I have this big old bag I got from Costco and I need to use it up. So I'm going to do lima beans in this mixture of corn, green beans, and peas. Okay, let's get started. All right, I have all of my ingredients ready to go. I'm getting my pan heated up, my pot, not my pan. There's all my ingredients ready to go. Okay, let's see what we're gonna add first. Flour the chicken. In a large stock pot, brown the chicken in the oil. Add the onions and cook until the onions are clear, stirring occasionally. All right, let's start there. I'm gonna throw a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And I've got, it says 4 pounds of chicken, but I'm doing about 1.5 pounds of chicken breasts. It doesn't even say what kind of chicken, so I'm sure you can use breasts or thighs. It doesn't even say how much flour either, it just says flour. So let's just sprinkle a little bit in there. Probably just enough to douse the chicken in, I imagine, just to give the stew a little bit of thickness. Okay. And I like this word viscosity. Give the stew some thickness and viscosity. Okay. All right, let's see if this oil is doing. Okay, let's see if this oil looks good. I'm gonna toss it in here. There. I just did a really light coating of flour. Chicken brown on both sides, and then we'll add the onions. Okay. chicken's starting to brown, so I'll go ahead. It doesn't call for garlic in this recipe, but y'all know how I love garlic, so I added a few cloves of garlic with my onion. So we're going to add that with the chicken. And it just says to cook at this until the onions start to get translucent. Okay, I've let this cook a couple more minutes just to let the onions get translucent. It's really starting to get sticky on the bottom and brown, so I'm going to go ahead and add these liquids so it can kick up all of that gunk on the bottom. All right, our next step, add tomatoes, water, and seasonings. Okay, it calls for 3 cups of canned tomatoes. I'm going to do a little less than 2 cups. And I decided I'm using canned. It doesn't call for fresh or canned. It just, oh, actually it says canned. Never mind. Canned, but I'm doing Italian style, so it adds some extra flavor to it. Dump that in. And the water calls for a cup, so I'm going to do a half a cup of water. Actually, you know, y'all, I have chicken. I have some chicken broth left from yesterday when I was cooking. So let's do half cup chicken broth. That'll make it extra flavorful. I like to always substitute water for chicken broth, especially if you're cooking things like rice. It just gives it extra flavor without having to add any extra seasonings or salt, because there's some salt in that chicken broth. Okay, oh, yeah, this is getting that stuff off the bottom. Probably the acid from the tomatoes is helping to kick it all up. So sticky. Okay, what does it say after this? Cover and simmer till the chicken is almost tender. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, and I have a feeling our chicken is cooked through. Yummy. I'm gonna go ahead, and I think our last ingredients are all the seasonings. So we have salt, Worcestershire, cayenne, sugar, and the veggies, the kernel beans and the lima beans, and the mixed veggies I'm gonna add. So I'm gonna go ahead. It says cayenne pepper. I'm gonna go pretty lightly with this. I just do a couple dashes. I'm just gonna do a little couple dashes of salt. I'm actually using this lower light salt instead of a regular salt. I'm gonna do some pepper, just a little bit of cracked pepper, and Worcestershire. 1 tablespoon. Do about a half tablespoon. I just did like 5 dashes. Sugar. I'm just gonna do a little pinch of coconut sugar. I'm not gonna use regular sugar. So I love coconut sugar in soups and stews because it's more earthy and earthy tones when you taste it on your taste buds. So, and now let's add the veggies. Yay! And then we're just gonna let this simmer for another 5 minutes covered. And then we can taste it. Yum, yum, yum. All right, I'm back again. It's been another about 5 to 8 minutes of letting all of the vegetables cook in Ernest T. Vallis's chicken thief stew. I think it's just about done. So I'm ready to put it in a little bowl and give it a taste. I'm gonna get a little baby bowl today because I'm not very hungry, but I do want to see what this sucker tastes like. Okay. Get some of that juice. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Especially on a crappy, windy day. Nice little stew. Might make me feel better. Get a little spoon. Okay, let's try this out. Sorry, you're a little crooked, but that'll be all right. Okay, a little bit of everything. A lima bean, and tomato, and some juice, and some chicken, and some onion, and some pea. Don't want to burn my mouth. Then I won't be able to taste the next thing we make. Okay. Still hot. Mmm. 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 Oh, that's very good. That's real easy to make too. I may add a little bit more sugar. The tomatoes are still a little acidic, and that's fine. So, anywho, I'm gonna get cleaned up, and then we're gonna go to our next recipe, which is Crooner Shrimp Creole. I'll be right back. Hi y'all, I'm all cleaned up and back, and I'm ready to move on to our second recipe. It is called Crooner Shrimp Creole. There you go. Let's see what's in this recipe. It looks super simple, so this video will be a quick one. You need olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic mince, 2 bell peppers diced into 1-inch squares, 2 12-ounce cans of stewed tomatoes, 2 pounds of deveined cooked shrimp, and some cooked white rice. I'm going to make a few substitutions to this recipe, as I always do to every recipe. I'm going to add a little bit of onion because I think that'd be really good in this. Instead of stewed tomatoes, I've got something fun I saw in the grocery store that I want to try. Petite diced canned green tomatoes. I've never seen that before. So I'm going to do half diced green tomatoes and then half these Italian style diced tomatoes instead of the stewed tomatoes they call for. All right, let's get started and see how this is going to turn out. Putting my pan on medium-high heat. I'm going to add first ingredient, which is olive oil. All right, let's see what it says. In a large skillet, heat the oil. Check. And saute the garlic. I'm going to do both my garlic and my onion. Yeah. Okay, but let's wait for this oil to heat up for a second. What's after that? When the garlic just begins to simmer, add the bell peppers. And then we add the tomatoes and simmer long enough for the flavors to blend. And lastly, you add the shrimp and allow to simmer for a couple of minutes. Bada bing, bada boom, and we're done. Okay. Looks like I am ready to throw in my onion and garlic. Okay, now that our garlic's simmering, we'll go ahead, add in our bell pepper. I have some green and yellow bell pepper I'm going to add into this recipe. When I think of Creole, for some reason I kind of think of things like gumbo and things, and it reminds me of green pepper for some reason. I rarely use it, but in these kind of recipes, it just seems to add a really special flavor. We're going to let this saute a while for the veggies to soften up. Okay, I've let these peppers and garlic and onion sweat and saute for about 5 minutes. Our next step is to add in all of the tomatoes. So I'm going to add in my green tomatoes first. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, that looks so good. I like these tomatoes. I think I'm going to buy me a few more cans. And then another can of the Italian style diced tomatoes. There you go. Okay. Give that a stir. That looks pretty darn good. I like the contrast of the 2 tomatoes. That's beautiful. And all those colorful peppers. Great. I'm also going to add in something a little different. I'm adding in, it didn't even call for salt or anything, which is weird. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little salt and pepper in. Probably just a 1/4 teaspoon each. And I'm also gonna, I don't know, I have this Jamaican jerk seasoning and I haven't used it in a while. I just have a hankering this is gonna be good in this Creole, so I'm gonna add some Jamaican jerk. And to make a little kick, I'm gonna do 4 dashes of cayenne pepper. Okay, I'm gonna let these simmer another 5 minutes and then we'll be ready to add in our shrimp. Okay, I've let this mixture simmer for a little while. I also have my rice cooked and ready to go. I am going to grab my shrimp. Shrimp. I'm not doing the full recipe. I'm only going to do some because I also offered chicken in this recipe. So we'll do about 12 shrimp in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, turn the heat back up. Let these shrimp cook for a little bit. We'll add a few more in the pot for a total of 12 shrimp. We're probably just going to cook these until they turn pink. Okay, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes and the shrimp is starting to turn pink. So I'm just going to stir this for just a little while longer. You don't want to overcook the shrimp. That would be bad too. So, I mean, the shrimp can take probably about 5 to 8 minutes and it should be done. Yummy. This would be very good over rice. I'd even serve this over polenta. That would be delicious. Some cheesy Gruyere with Gruyere cheese, polenta, creamy goodness. All right, I think that's good enough. I'm not going to overcook this shrimp. Let's put some. I'm just going to do a little tiny sample. Okay, got my rice. Take one of these little shrimps. A little bit of tomato. All right, look at that. Okay, there we go, yum. This looks delicious. I cooked the shrimp perfectly. It's got a nice snap to it. Not a mushy taste. That's pretty good. For a very simple and basic Creole, this is a great recipe. Especially if you need an easy, quick weeknight dinner. It'll do the trick. So I'm sure it's good with chicken too. So try it out. If you liked my video, I'd love you to subscribe to my page because I'm just going to keep posting more. Thanks for joining me on my Mayberry Cookbook journeys. I'll see you next time.